Hey everyone, it's Ben Hardy here, and in today's I'm going to be reviewing the Infiniti QX80. I've been living with this for the week, so I'm going to let you guys know what it's actually like to live with and if it's worth purchasing. Let's get into it. Powering this is a twin-turbo 3.5-liter V6 that goes through a 9-speed, fuel economy 16 around town, 19 on the highway, with power outputs being 450 horsepower and then 516 pound-feet of torque. Before I move forward with this review, I do want to mention if you want to see more videos just like this, then I recommend you subscribe because I post content every single day. Now the front end of the new QX80 is massive and imposing. They've gone for a split light design with this new QX80. You can see the kind of like accent lighting up above, and you got the actual headlight cluster and everything down below. Really intricate looking grille. And you notice that this is actually a little bit dirty, so I kind of live out in the boondocks a little bit now, and I actually took this through not off-roading per se, but some rugged terrain and everything, and it actually did quite well. Talk about that during the driving. Our tire and wheel setup is 275 by 50 by 22, and this does have adjustable suspension. Got this cool little blacked out piece there on the side. You can see that the mirror cap blacked out, and then we've got the roof that's also blacked out as well. Take a few steps back. There's your side profile. Take a look at the key fob here. You guys can see lock and unlock function. You got the opening for the rear hatch, your remote start Infiniti logo there, and we'll hold that down and that'll open up the rear hatch. So this has a really cool feature you don't see in a lot of vehicles in this segment. First off, Tahoe sized in terms of the storage space here in the back. Got a little outlet here in the back too. But here's the cool thing. So you can raise and lower the suspension with those buttons. I've only seen that on Range Rovers and I think some Mercedes and BMW. So it's cool to see that on the Infiniti. Like the not the Tahoe, like the loaded up Yukon or Escalade this competes against doesn't offer that. And then the seats, all of them are automatic raise and lower. So that's something else that you don't see in the Yukon or the Escalade. They make you manually raise the second row. And then this leads us to the rest of the rear. You've got this giant light bar here on the back. Autograph there on the side too, but yeah, very Range Rover-esque in terms of the design. Now the interior is quite impressive, really nice materials. They have kind of like a durable but then luxurious feel. It's kind of the Japanese way, I've noticed. Look at that with the trim there on the door panel. And by the way, sound system's good. Anyways, seats, really nice trim. And again, they got all those power adjustments. I'm gonna move this forward a little bit. You can press this for kind of a quicker actuation with everything, if you want the seat to go back or forward to get access. But anyways, you can also just do this little function, then also move it forward. You can do both at once, which is nice. Now with the third row, really nice trim. I mean here, this is gonna be a little bit closer, so it's gonna be easier to see. Really nice trim on the seats themselves. The floor does raise a little bit, so it does get in the way of legroom in terms of pushing your legs up a little bit. But overall, it's a pretty nice place to be, and you can fit adults back there. Legroom in the back of the QX80 is great. In the second row, you can see the storage pocket. Got our controls for heated and ventilated seats or climate in the center here as well. Some little charging ports down below. This has a center console here. Now you'll notice heated and ventilated seat controls here, seat adjustment. We also have massage seats here in the back. Big center console here, some USBs as well. So just lots of passenger storage, and it's cool that these are heated, cooled, and massage. So that's just something you don't really see all that often with second rows. Now this leads us up front, where again, really nice trim all throughout. Get your memory seat function, all of our window controls, and then the mirrors do power fold in. Blind spot monitoring with the mirrors. Payload capacity on this is going to be 1466. And then this has the speakers in the headrest. Perforated all down the center with the seat. And then you can see here massage function for the driver's seat, all of your adjustments. And then you got practical controls like your lane departure, for example, auto stop start for the heads up display and everything. Steering wheel's power adjustable too. Now really nice leather trim around the steering wheel. You can see like on the airbag cover, for example. Paddle shifters there on the back. We got practical controls here on the side, so go through the screen options. You got your adaptive cruise control, and then regular stocks there in the back. Digital gauge cluster here in the center, and you can change what is displayed on the gauge cluster here depending on what you want to see information wise. So I think that it's nice having a little bit of customization there. 360 camera system, really good resolution with the camera system. And then this is the infotainment system itself. It's quick to respond. Everything is easy to use. So yeah, whatever you're going to be using on it, that's great. And it is connected into one unit. And I think they did a pretty good job with kind of designing the whole dash layout around it. And that's not enough screen because we've got more down below. So this is for the climate. Again, heated and cooled seats up front. And I like that everything's pretty quick to respond. It does have haptic feedback. And notice you can switch over into 4-wheel high, and then you can adjust the suspension. There's also a physical button for the suspension, camera, and all that. And then also your gear selector, sorry, bunch of buttons. This is cool with all the trim all around. Cup holders. And then this does have a cool box center console. Nice trim on the top. And cool box, by the way, just means refrigerator. Anyways, memory seats and everything for the passenger. They have all the same features as the driver. And then camera, rear view mirror. And then we've got a nice headliner up top, panoramic sunroof. $114,000 is the sticker price. Let's talk about what it's like to live with. So setting off in the QX80 Autograph, the fancy version. Now, if you look at the pricing of where this is at, basically it's offering all the features of a fully loaded Escalade, but at a lower price point. But you can get pretty much all the features of a fully loaded Escalade in the Yukon Denali Ultimate, and that's just slightly less expensive. So this is between Yukon Denali Ultimate and Escalade with all the features price-wise. Right, pretty much right in the middle, because 114 Denali Ultimate's like just under 110, and then loaded up Escalade's almost 130. So yeah. Now, in terms of basic driving, the best analogy for this is this feels like a luxury independent suspension Land Cruiser. It doesn't have the same big truck-like feel that you get in an Escalade, for example. So I think some of you will really like that because it makes it so that you have kind of like a tighter turning. I don't know if the turning radius is exactly tighter, but it feels the way. It just feels like a smaller, lighter weight, more nimble vehicle overall. Just easier to drive in general, which I really appreciate. But it still has all the space inside, which is cool. The suspension, you know, the adjustable suspension's nice with getting in and out, and then it also just helps out with the ride quality. The ride quality of this is really comfortable, which I think is a big plus. Great torque from the engine, great power. It's a smooth powertrain too. It's a twin turbo V6, but it just develops and delivers power really well. Exactly what you'd want. Now, I did take this over some, because I mean, these roads aren't bad, but the other day it was raining and then it turned into snow and things got extremely muddy. That's why the car's so dirty, is because of the rain and the snow and the mud. And here's my impressions on rough terrain. This actually does pretty darn well. Now, it's got low profile tires, and this is not an off-roader, right? Big air dam. That's why I'm not going to take it off-road. But it was actually pretty impressive with how comfortable it was with the suspension over the bumps and everything. And so you can take this through rugged terrain. I mean, it is an SUV, body on frame SUV at the end of the day. And this is basically just a luxury Armada Pro 4X is one way you could look at it. And the Pro 4X has tons of off-road capability. Obviously, this doesn't have the rear locker and everything the Pro 4X has, but still, it's got a lot going for it. So living with this, it's a nice big luxury SUV, and I think the biggest benefit to the QX80 is, again, since it drives smaller compared to the competition, it's less of a hassle, and I don't feel like I need to, as weird as it sounds, I don't feel like I need to own another vehicle. Like if I had a, you know, Yukon XL or a Suburban, it would be so big that it's like, okay, when we're moving a bunch of people, we're moving a bunch of stuff, we'll use that vehicle, but then I want something smaller that I can zip around in, right? This, I don't feel that. I feel like it's the perfect size to where it's kind of like a do-everything vehicle. And so I think that if you're looking at stuff that you might not traditionally compare this to, like BMW X7 or Mercedes GLS, that's like a not quite as spacious, but, you know, a bigger luxury three-row SUV, then this kind of feels more like that than it does, even though this is truck-based, right? It feels less like the truck-based and more like the car-based big luxury SUVs. And that's kind of what the biggest thing that I've learned about this over the week. And I think that's great. It's like you get the best of both worlds. You get like kind of like the better handling, the smaller feel of a car-based SUV, but then you get the practicality and the size and the towing capability and the payload of a truck-based SUV. So let me know your thoughts.